Perfect. It is showing me that we are live on YouTube, that we are also live on Facebook. Let me just double check this. Okay, it does look like we're showing up. Sorry, I got messaged here on the page, so I had to check and be sure that everything's okay. All right. Well, good morning once again, afternoon or evening, when you do get the time or chance to watch our broadcast. Thank you for tuning in and learning more about candidates seeking office at state and, of course, at our county levels. I am Juliet Abdel, the Westminster President and CEO for the Chamber, and I want to thank you for tuning in, to encourage you to hit the like button and follow on our page or subscribe to the YouTube so that you can get alerted when we go live into the future. I also want to reemphasize that hitting the share button on this video allows others in your network to see that we're live so they can join us as well and engage in our discussion. There is a comment section here on our video section that you can comment on, if I said that correctly. This is my 5th broadcast, so I'm a little bit like I've been repeating things back to back. There's a comment section that you can engage with us on. That comment section is available to you to leave any good morning pleasantries, to ask any questions that you might have, share thoughts. The questions that you do share, we will take up at the end if we have time. We have pre-submitted questions that were submitted to us that we'll ask our candidate that's on here today. The candidates do not have any idea what these questions are. They've not seen them before. This is the first time that they're hearing it. They'll start with an introductory statement. We'll move into those rapid fire questions, and then they'll end with kind of a closing statement as well. We will take up, of course, those comments. If there is anything that is attacking a candidate or uses profanity or any type of language, we will not be displaying that on the screen. And I hope that you can respect our conversation and our dialogue this morning. So with that, I'm very excited to have with me Regina. Thank you for being on here with me this morning to talk a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. As you know, my name is Regina Marinelli. I am running for Jefferson County Sheriff. Just a little bit about myself. I have served over 36 years with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. I currently hold the rank of lieutenant, and I have actually held a leadership position in every single major division within the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. So basically, I know the agency inside out and backwards, and I am absolutely ready on day one to jump in and make the changes that are so necessary that we can get into a more progressive type of agency moving forward.
Well, thank you so much for that opening statement, Regina. We have Shelly, Parker, Aria, and Wayne tuned in with us. Parker is giving a quick good afternoon to both of us. It is afternoon now, so thank you for that, Parker. We'll jump right into our rapid fire questions. I will display the question and ask it of our candidate, and then allow for her some time to be able to address that for us. This question asks what you plan to accomplish in the first 30 and first 90 days in this position.
In the first 30 days, some of the things I plan to accomplish, I had started a behavioral health unit within our jail, which allowed us to do some therapies that went after the people that were in our custody. The therapies triggered a healthy lifestyle to get rid of their addictions. We did specific therapy for inmates, and then we did specific therapies for veterans. And so in my first 30 days, I plan to bring that program back. I also plan to bring the GED program back. And I also plan to get the mental health of our staff up and running and with a wellness center. In the first 90 days, I'll do a strategic plan that we will use going forward, and make some changes into the hierarchy of the agency, and work on getting the elite training that I want for our staff.
Thank you for that. And while that question's loading up, I'm just displaying a quick good morning from one of our business owners in the area. Okay, this question actually is a nice segue from the changes that you referenced. What is the number one thing that does need to be changed in the sheriff's office?
I think the training unit needs to upgrade. Whenever the budget is cut in most sheriff's departments, police departments, the first thing that goes is the extra training. We do everything that's required of us and mandatory state and federally, but we take out the smaller training that's not required. For instance, after the Marshall fire, I walked around and talked to several of our deputies that have been with the agency anywhere from 6 to 12 years and asked them, when was the last time you had fire behavior training? And that fire behavior training is extremely important because that's what gets us to evacuate citizens when we're having some kind of a emergency situation and we need citizens to evacuate. And so it showed me that those kind of classes need to come back. They have not been taught in well over a decade, even more. And so we need to bring some of that training back and get our deputies more comfortable with the job that they're supposed to be doing. That way, the expectations of not only the agency, but the expectations of the community are trained, taught. The deputies are comfortable going out and doing their jobs.
Thank you for answering that. What motivates you to take on this role?
Again, I've been with the sheriff's department for 36 years. I'm one of those people that constantly thinks outside of the box. I'm constantly trying to make proposals, to make changes. The motivation I have is that there's still a lot of work to be done, and I want to do it. I want to get out there and get the progressive things, get the therapy for our citizens, both in the jail, outside of the jail. Move us to a point where we can show the citizens that we are seriously there to serve them and to protect them. And so when we're out on the street, as society knows, we are dealing with a lot of situations that need to de-escalate. And so working with those co-responders and the Jeffco Center for Mental Health and getting that mental health aspect of law enforcement into our everyday requirements of what we are supposed to be doing.
Thank you for that. This next question asks what you feel is the duty of the sheriff's office.
I think the number one duty of the sheriff's office is we take our direction from the judicial system. So we are there to abide by all the laws that are put on the books, and also then to go forward. And as I just said in the other question, to serve and protect. There are a lot of things we need to do. We don't just go out and arrest people. I know that's what a lot of people think cops do, but it's our duty to go out and do the community-oriented policing, where we teach the citizens how to take care of themselves. We teach the businesses how to take care of their business. And so that way it doesn't make it a prime target. So sometimes we forget that other part of what we are supposed to be doing, which is to go out and promote people taking care of themselves and their safety, so that there is not an emergency situation where the police have to come in and stop it. If we are prepared going into it and mitigate the situation before it happens, that is one of our duties, and that's what I feel the sheriff's office is lacking in, and we need to go forward and do that.
Do you consider yourself to have good morals and integrity? Why?
I was raised in Colorado, went to public schools, went to college. I do have my degrees, and I've been, again, 36 years. The ethics behind this job, yes, I do believe I have good morals, and I do believe that I have integrity and honesty. That's just the way I was raised. It's the way, when I came into the police department and into the sheriff's department, we've never been one to think of that thin blue line like a lot of the country does. I'm very proud of the fact that in my 36 years with the sheriff's department, we've always had the understanding that if you see another officer doing something wrong, that you are to pull them aside and make it stop. So we didn't really need that law to come into effect to tell us that.
Thank you. And thank you for paying attention to my little sticky note. This question is around crime rates and how they are exploding across Colorado. How would you work to reverse these trends and keep our communities safe?
Yes, the crime rates are going up, and a lot of my philosophy is let's stop talking about them and start figuring it out. Back in the early 90s, when we had a lot of violence that was happening with the gangs, I was part of the Violent Youth Crime Symposium that the entire Denver metro area put together. And it pulled politicians, law enforcement, media, all together in one location. And the symposium then attacked the problems that we were having. I was talking to former Governor Pena a year ago, and he said, Reggie, he goes, I remember that. And he says, do you think it would work? And I said, you know what? Any efforts going forward, hopefully will get us to a point where we can find something that's going to work. We can't just stand back and complain about it.
Thank you. This next question is a little bit lengthier. Much has been said over the past few years about law enforcement and its relationship to minority communities. How would you work with those communities to rebuild trust?
I think there is an advisory board that meets with the sheriff currently. I think that advisory board needs to spread out and bring in a bigger realm of what our community is built on. I've talked to a lot of Latinos, which we do have a lot in the Jefferson County area. And I've asked them, do you realize what the makeup of our jail is? And why are you guys not pushing for it and demanding to be a part of that? I think that community, especially in our jail, needs to be have a say-so. And, the new issues we're dealing with are LGBTQ, and how do we deal with them within our jail, because they have the right to be housed safely and they have the right to feel safe in their surroundings. So I think the advisory council, I would like to manipulate that just a hair and have a specific one for the jail, one for the community, one for patrol, and meld them together so that we can hear from the community.
Thank you for that. Here's our next question. Many law enforcement agencies in the area are understaffed, and recruiting qualified officers is becoming increasingly difficult. How would you address this problem?
Yes, that's going across the entire country. Law enforcement is having an issue to recruit. It's just not a glamorous job right now, and a lot of people that would have thought about getting into law enforcement have chosen to stay away from it. It is getting more and more dangerous. And again, we have seen the magnitude of when one officer makes a tragic mistake. I'm going to go back to when I was talking about the elite training and bringing that into our agency. I think there needs to be a degree of expectations put out on the table. That way our officers, our deputies, have absolutely no doubt in their mind what their job is, how to do it, what's expected of them. If they do that moving forward, then they should be able to do their job every day of the week and do it in a manner that's appropriate, not only from the police standpoint, but from the citizen standpoint. And we should be able to then build a better idea of what police are supposed to be and get people to come in and want to work for us.
How would you improve how the department deals with people with mental disorders?
I hate to be going back to that training thing. We used to have classes on dementia. We used to have classes on how to deal with people with the mental disorders. We still do to this day. CIT, which is a de-escalation technique that we teach our officers. It currently is not mandated. I would mandate that class because we need to learn how to deal with the mental health disorders, and we need to learn how to de-escalate it. And every deputy on the street needs to have that training to be able to understand how to de-escalate people depending on what kind of mental disorder they are in crisis with.
Thank you for that. You have gone over all of these questions pretty succinctly and fast. So if any of you have questions for our candidates, you can type it into the comment section. I do want to highlight her campaign website. The campaign website is your go-to resource to learn more about your candidates. Of course, these types of broadcasts give you a snip or a snapshot of how they would address these issues, but it's not the full picture and it's not every single thing that's in their wheelhouse or their toolkit. So we encourage you after this broadcast to go to their website and learn more about them directly and reach out to them if you have any particular questions that you were hoping to get an answer to or you were hoping to know before the November elections. I do want to ask if you have a couple of minutes to share a closing statement or closing remarks. So if there was anything in particular that you were hoping to get across, you did not get across to our audience, or something that you were hoping we would ask that maybe we did not ask, you can incorporate into your closing statements.
Again, my number one thing to come out of the chute with is the mental health. We do have Jeffco Center for Mental Health that are working hand in hand with our patrol deputies. We need to continue that. We need to embrace that, make that larger. We also need to make sure that we are dealing and helping with those people that are in our custody. The biggest thing is the addiction. If you ever work in our jail, you will see within a very short period of time the addiction issues that we're having in our jail. Most of those small level crimes that are being committed by people that are addicted. So what I'd like to do is get that therapy back in there on day one, get these people the help they need, get them on their feet when they leave our custody. And then they, we can try to get them with Job Corps, get them jobs, get them back on their feet, paying their bills and being a good part of society. And so the third thing about that is also the mental health of our staff. That wellness center that I want to get going for our staff is extremely important. We have to make sure that our deputies are street ready when we put them back out on the street so that they can help with the mental health issues. They can help de-escalating those situations, getting into our schools. We have to think about the kids and the next generation that are coming up and make sure that they are protected and healthy as well. And so it's a whole group effort. We need to tear down the silos that we've been working in and start working with everybody out in society, whether it be nonprofits, whether it be Jeffco Center for Mental Health. And we have to be a team and start working as a team for our community.
Well, I thank you so much, Regina, for being on here with me. I know that working already in the department means that you are continually active and busy. And of course, this close to elections, you all are consistently invited and pulled into things. So I appreciate you for taking the time to accept this invitation and to be on here with us. For those of you that are on here, of course, know that these are available to you to go back and rewatch and rewind. You can always reach out to our candidates, go learn more about them at their campaign page. And even though we're exiting out right now from this broadcast, know that we'll be back on here in a few minutes. So not too long. It's about a 5-minute break or so before we come back to you with another one of our candidates that's on here. So make sure that you refresh the page and that you're ready for the next candidate to engage with them as well. We appreciate all of you for being on here, and we look forward to seeing you outside of the election season and after the November elections and results come through. Regina, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.